Hey y'all, Kymology here to do a Kymology exhibit. I think I was on a weekly schedule for quite a while, like even through after the 30-day video exhibit thing, and I missed last week, so I'm noticing that, and I think it's good that I don't feel good about it because things like that can illuminate what's important and what you want to do and reasons why not to feel bad, things to do to prevent yourself from feeling pain or pleasure. So I'm still working on I think I'm just gonna start over. No, I'm not. I'm just gonna go. So I usually have a topic. I do have some topics, and I also think I'm going to let this be just like a vlog, which is maybe what it's been the whole time. And I'm going to also just tell you what's been going on in my life. So the topics that I have roughly outlined are my challenge. Last video was about I was getting ready to start a next 30-day challenge for myself, and I was also getting ready to start a guided challenge for others. I have a birthday coming up, and I want to share a little bit about that, and Dooder is still dead and what that's been like. Might seem like a weird way to say that, but that is how I put it on here. My challenge, the group challenge, my birthday, each of those with a what that's been like, and then Dooder's still dead, what that's been like is like literally what the list says. So what's been up? I really want to start over. I'm gonna start over. I'm not gonna start over. I don't do that. 30 days of art is what I went with for my challenge. In a previous video, I talked about choosing a topic and what it's like for me to choose a topic sometimes. Sometimes the topic or focus doesn't feel strong and clear and like that's it. And I ended up, that was me this time. It wasn't clear and obvious for what I wanted to do. And after much deliberation and thinking about it, I went with 30 days of art. Today is day 14, so 14 days into the 30-day challenge, I have done an art a day. The rules I went with were art every day, and that it specifically had to be like a loose piece. I went with not doing in a sketchbook. So part of when you do a 30-day challenge is really getting specific about what it is you're actually doing. The more vague you are, the harder it is, I think, at least in the way I do the Kymology challenges. It's really important to be really specific about what you're doing. So what was interesting for me was, and maybe it's because I was also energying for the group guided challenge, that I was dedicating or putting less energy into my own. That's a thought that I had. But I noticed once I started that I actually didn't have great rules for myself. So here I am, the facilitator of this framework that is even my framework, and I didn't do good rules for myself. So that was interesting. And it was also fun because it turned into, I ended up doing this whole 3-word thing, which has made it very participatory with people who are following my stuff. And so it's been fun to see people submit 3 words, because the whole thing is give me 3 words, and I choose from the submissions of 3 words what I will art each day. And so the one I just showed you was fruit into animals. And that's 3 words that someone sent me. So that's my challenge. What else do I think about it? It's interesting to me that I've never done art as a challenge, and art's kind of a me thing. And I also see it as a thing that I have been somewhat inconsistent in my life. And when I say that, I also think, well, that's not really true. And this is like my internal dialogue, what's there all the time. So I could say I've been inconsistent about it because I haven't actively painted my entire life. It's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say this out loud. I have noticed myself doing this in all of these videos. I like try to hide my armpit fat. I'm just going to say that's what the fuck I'm doing. I'm about 10 pounds heavier than is my ideal weight. That's not based on the number on the scale. Don't go there with me. It's based on like how I feel in my body, and I happen to know that at this weight and this body fat, it's not ideal. So anyway, I have been in that space and I've noticed that what happens is fucking armpit fat for me. So I've been trying to like work on that. And so when I do that, that's what's up. That's what I'm doing. Maybe we just consider it covered and not mess with it again. I was talking about art. 30, right? Ugh. the 3 words thing. Is that where I was? Maybe I should start over again. Moving on. I was talking about 3 words. Notice myself fussing with this, and now moving on. I have enjoyed that part of the challenge, which was a very unexpected part, and it came because I didn't have good rules, and I wanted more rules because the open-endedness of art every day was too much openness for me. And that led to a lot of thoughts about why I like rules and boundaries and restrictions and how they're good for creativity. They're good for a lot of things, and which is kind of contrary to what you think, because people seem to often have a lot of resistance to rules. Like maybe you've even noticed in the personal development space, people don't even like to call it rules because there's so much resistance. And I find myself being a contrarian to all those things. Like nobody wants to say the word rule, and I like full on embrace it. Nobody wants to call it work, but I like, that is my word that I use for all my stuff. And those are words that people will replace with words that feel better or softer or lighter. Work often gets replaced with play, and I actually have an aversion to play. Rules get replaced with other words that make people feel less bristly. Like all that stuff, it is only what you make it mean. So just make it mean something good, or change the word. I mean, I also changed the word a lot in my life, so I'm contradicting myself by saying you shouldn't change the word and you should just make it mean something else. That has been some aspect to my 30-day challenge. And the group guided challenge has been going great. It is often a reminder to me when I do these programs how much I like doing that kind of work. Sometimes while I'm in it, because of the money aspect, I wonder if I should be putting my energy somewhere else, because I also want to receive money energy for my energy. And with this not being contributing substantially to my income, sometimes, especially because of the amount of time and energy I put into it, sometimes I wonder if, and then that can lead to me getting away from wanting to do them. And so then it always stands out to me that when I do it, I'm actually like, I love doing this. So let's stay there, is like a thought. So that about the challenges, I think that's what I have to say that it stands out. I'm gonna skip over to Dooder and then finish with my birthday. So the Dooder is still dead thing. That was just kind of a weird way to put it down on a list, I think, because one, that's what I do. And 2 or other, not list, numbered, it's still a significant thing to me. I mean, right now I'm looking past my camera out a window right down to his grave, and already getting teary-eyed. Like, and that doesn't happen every day. Like as soon as I think of him, I cry. But I think about him every day in a way that, like, that heart and throat, that saying makes so much sense. Like I often challenge cliches and say, like, where did that come from? Or it's like an inaccurate thing to say. And I've noticed myself thinking of that expression and thinking, nope, that one's right. That one's just right. Like, my heart is in my throat is a great way to explain that feeling. Like it's literally right here. And that happens multiple times most days, and sometimes it's significantly more affecting than others, and sometimes it's lighter and like I can go through a moment or that part of the day, but sometimes it's halting. Thoughts that I continue to think about include the one about, I think I might have made a mistake, and I haven't talked more about that because I think in my attempt that was a video here, I spent a lot of time talking about the processing of it and the expected response to it, and not as much about like the actual thoughts around it. And so maybe I could or should revisit it, attempt again to express those thoughts for myself and for others, because that's what everything's about. And also, as obvious as it may seem, as any death would make you think, I've also thought it's just been like a wake up of life, like meaning of life or poignancy of what happens in life. I mean, I've always contemplated meaning of life, and since the reckoning, the meaning of life has been a big part of my work. But differently, it's like the thoughts are kind of morbid and they're not quite accurate. So to say something like, if something's gonna die, then like why? Like what's the point? It's not actually what I think, but it's something in that realm. It's like, it's just hard to have something here and then gone. And it's not, what's the point? That unfinished thought that doesn't represent the real thought, and I hope you can follow me with what I mean by that, is it's not like that I wouldn't have done it, like what's the point? It's like, perhaps it was that 13 years ago I didn't anticipate strongly that that was going to happen, and I suppose that is what now comes with experience and age. And like, people try to tell you that kind of stuff, like I'm sure some older, wiser person tried to tell me that in some way a decade ago, but it's one of those things that you can't understand until you've actually experienced it. And as much as we try to help each other with the sharing of our experiences, some of that stuff, or maybe all of that stuff, and that's an interesting space for me in my work, because I am constantly sharing and exhibiting myself for the point and possibility of what it could be useful for others, for myself and for others. That is a big part of the whole thing, the whole reason why I do what I do. So if a part of why I do it is to potentially inspire, affect, impact, provide use for someone else. But I also recognize and believe that there are things that we cannot get from other people, like this lesson about death that I'm not even sure what it is, or that it is a lesson. It's just this experience that is not new or different to me per se, although it also is, but it's also a familiar experience. And as much as we try to share or convey that to others, it doesn't happen until you really experience it. And so that's just an interesting thing to explore, if you could follow that. The idea of someone trying to let you know something or tell you something, and then you really don't know it until, or you think you know it, and then you really don't know it until you know it, you know? And I'm knowing it in this way. And it also continues to stand out or come up for me that this has been so different. I have, like I've said in other content or other places, I've said Dooder was my third dog. There was Kaya, there was Sotsi, there was Dooder. Kaya was hit by a train and I carried her in my arms to an emergency vet, and she died with me wailing over her in a vet office. I was 20 something. That was tragic. That stayed with me. Sotsi was what I would consider a natural death and died with my mom when I was away double heading Old Rag, which is a 9-mile hike, because I was running away from a relationship, and she died while I was gone. And that was a different kind of hard. And since I've been in the after part of Dooder's death, I've thought about those deaths, and I was just like, this is just differently fucking hard. It's just a whole other thing. And why is that? And people have responded to me and said things like, because you and Dooder were so close, which I think is probably an aspect. I mean, every relationship we have is different, you know, so it's not like I'm expecting that it should be the same. And it's also the context of what is different about it, and how I think it's natural and good to compare, and I think context is great. And so saying like it shouldn't be the same, what I'm saying, that was me defending what I would think would be common responses to that, which are, you know, they're not supposed to be the same, everything's different. And these are not things I don't know, because if I say that, it doesn't mean I don't know those things. It also means that there's other stuff to think about, I guess, is what I'm saying. So I didn't really think I was gonna go this way in the Dooder direction. Or I mean, I knew I wanted to talk about, but I had no idea what I wanted to talk about. And that's often what happens when I turn the camera on, and this is called an exhibit, because I am exhibiting my thoughts and feelings and my meanness in a unscripted way for the point and purpose of whatever might be point and purpose in that. I miss him. I just looked up there because the whole wall was pretty much him, and him looking over the top of something at me is like a whole thing. And that's like exactly what he does with this picture that's up there. Should I just show you? So there's that. All right. My birthday is approaching. Now I'm like a sobby mess. My armpit fat isn't out, but my hair and my face look a wreck. My birthday is coming up. I was born on the 4th of July, and I've always been really connected to that, probably pretty proud of that. Meaning, to me, before I knew or even still know all the important history that is what Independence Day is about, to me it was the words Independence Day. And I think I took that on from a very young age as I'm an independent woman. And then badass got added in there. I'm an independent badass woman. And like that became part of my identity, partly because I was born on a day called Independence Day before I even knew what the hell Independence Day was meant to mean in our country. Things like the fireworks resonated with independence, and like fireworky and fiery and sassy and independent. Like, how to describe in words what that has meant to me over 38 years, I'm not sure. As much as I'm like the wordsmith, word person, and I ain't got that right now on the fly, but it's there. It's like a big part of me. So, and birthdays are too. Just thinking, I mean, the reckoning started at the approach of a birthday. I found myself and changed my life at the approach of turning 30, because I was like, this is not my life. I don't know what happened, but this isn't it. And I changed, and I have loved my life since. And I have wondered if I have been on the precipice of another reckoning as I've been approaching this time, because I've felt stuck in a period of what's my thing. And I don't not like my life, but I'm very frustrated with that part of it. And so it was a recent thought, meaning recent probably in this year, where I was like, maybe this is another reckoning, and that would make sense. And that, or either it would make sense, or that I'm manifesting / creating that because I'm about to approach another milestone birthday, meaning the round numbers. So I was about to turn 30, up into my life, about to turn 40. Seems like a good time to up in my life. Not sure that that's actually the direction I'm going to go in, and I'm not actually about to turn 30. I will be 39, but I will be in the last year of my 30s, and that feels significant. But to say that feels significant is somewhat insignificant, because I treat all birthdays as significant. I treat them kind of like a new year, and take time to take stock in like who I am and what my life is about, and make resolutions, which is really intentions to me. That's an example of me shying away from a word. I shy away from resolutions because that's such a bad rap as being New Year resolutions and this thing that people don't stick to. So I set intentions all year, and birthdays are a good time, and so are new moons. So birthdays are a good time. New moons are a good time, because new moons are good times to start things, and full moons are a good time to start for other things. And it just so happens that the full moon is going to be over my birthday. Technically, the full moon is tomorrow on July 3rd, and I consider full moon energy to exist a few days before and a few days after. I'm probably not like a Puritan about that, or clearly I'm not a Puritan about whatever the official full moon is, but to me, the full moon is happening over my birthday, even though it's technically going to be a day past, and it will be in a phase of waning at that point. So my birthday is coming up. I'm squarely in the middle of a 30-day challenge with myself and 4 others. My dog's still dead, and that still hurts. Still trying not to say really striving to still figure out myself and my thing, less myself, more my thing, and wanting my thing to be myself, and really trying to stay in that lane, which I think I'm doing an okay job at. I mean, I've started this video thing and I would like to know the exact number, and this is part of the whole not be prepared part. But anyway, again with the pretty happy with that aspect, and still working on figuring it out more and more, you know, like I guess that's just part of it. So challenge, full moon, dog, life, vlog. I think that's what I got. Thank you for being here. If you're here, if you made it to here, and wish me a happy birthday if you want to. Ciao for now.